Nations around the world are weighing the impact of U.S. President Donald Trump's latest tariff escalation after he hiked duties on U.S. imports to 15%. The move coming a day after the Supreme Court struck down most of Mr. Trump's tariff regime introduced since April last year. In a Truth Social post, Mr. Trump says the new levies will take effect immediately. He says they are based on legally tested authority, which allows duties of up to 15% for 150 days, unless Congress approves an extension. Mr. Trump says he will use the 5-month window to pursue other legal tariffs. He had initially announced a 10% across-the-board levy. Hundreds of U.S. companies have reportedly filed lawsuits seeking refunds for tariffs paid. Experts estimate that the government has collected more than $175 billion and could be forced to make compensation following the court's ruling. The developments are drawing swift international reaction, even spilling over to trade negotiations. India is reportedly delaying plans to send a trade delegation to Washington. The group was set to leave today for talks to finalize an interim trade deal. Both countries had earlier agreed on a framework for Washington to cut 25% tariffs linked to New Delhi's purchases of Russian oil. Indonesia, meanwhile, says it is prepared for any outcome. Its chief negotiator for tariffs says Jakarta has asked Washington to maintain exemptions on some exports. He says last week's trade deal cutting U.S. levies to 19% remains, even if it's now higher than a global rate. Japan, Taiwan and other major exporters in Asia say they are monitoring developments and the potential impacts. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz says he will consult European allies on a joint response before he travels to Washington early next month. Brazil's president says his country does not want a new Cold War and called on his American counterpart to treat all nations equally. Singapore Deputy Prime Minister Gan Kim Yong says the government will engage with businesses, unions and workers to better understand how they might be affected by the latest 15% U.S. tariff hike. That's as firms may experience different impacts and have varying levels of capability to respond. He assures them that the government is prepared to provide additional support if necessary.
We need to chart our direction to make sure that Singapore will continue to be competitive and our economic structure will be resilient so that we are able to withstand these shocks from the external factors so that we are able to continue to operate, find our niches, find our position in the world to strengthen our competitive advantage as a hub business with our leverage on our connectivity, our well-trained workforce, highly competitive and productive workforce, and these are our key selling points.